This is going to be an insanely cool way to learn languages. Immerse is a language learning app with sick new features that's taking the language world by storm and making it a lot easier for anyone to learn a language through immersion. And the best part is, you won't even need a VR headset to do it. In this video, we're covering 3 ways that Immerse will change how we learn languages for the better, how to get and try the platform out for yourself, even without a VR headset, and the flaws you should avoid while on this app to get the most out of it for your language journey. But both beginner and advanced students will get a ton from this video, starting with this first part, which is a new form of guided language immersion. If you've ever asked anyone how to learn a language fast, they probably mentioned language immersion at least 12,000 times. And while it's true that going to Spain to surround yourself with Spanish and immerse in the language is a good way to get fluent faster, not everyone has the time or money to travel to different countries to learn their languages. So how does Immerse make this better? Well, check this out.
Chris, you start. Tú empiezas con A. Ven, vamos.
¿Cuál es tu postre favorito?
Mi postre favorito es el flan.
¿Flan? ¿En serio? Nunca lo he probado.
Ah, es delicioso. Deberías probarlo. ¿Y el tuyo?
Mi postre favorito son los pastelitos de guayaba. ¿Guayaba?
Muy bien, de
Son
guayaba.
gui-
Guayaba.
Guayaba.
Sí, es un par perfecto.
Muy bien, Jerry. Veo bien español. Veo que hablas muy bien. ¿Tienes preguntas de vocabulario algo que no comprendas de esta conversación?
Yep, that was me getting a Spanish lesson while being physically surrounded by the environment. Immerse makes it possible to do things like learn the names of your favorite instruments while actually playing them, talk about the beach while actually passing around a beach ball, and more to bring language immersion right to your couch. But how does it actually work? And is it beginner friendly? Teaching beginners is actually where Immerse shines most. Rather than toss you into a VR world and having you go learn the language on your own, Immerse actually hosts group language classes run by real language teachers in VR. That means you're getting real language lessons from trained teachers. And there are tons of different classes every day covering a bunch of different topics, from ordering at a restaurant to cooking, to talking in a bar, and even buying a house. You can take as many classes as you want, and they span different levels and styles to help everyone find what they need, from beginners to more intermediate students. And something about being in VR really eases the fear of making mistakes. So it felt really comfortable and fun to practice Spanish in a virtual class. And the VR environment adds many layers to help you remember the things you learn. For example, instead of just studying the word palanca on a page using the traditional method, doing it in Immerse lets you read the word while listening to the teacher's voice saying it, and you're looking at an actual palanca, a lever right in front of you, and then pulling it to interact with it and see what it does.
Melanie, por favor, a la palanca.
¿Qué significa palanca exactamente?
It's this thing. How do you call this in English?
A lever.
Ah, okay.
Eso es una palanca.
All those extra interactive layers that use your different senses can really help the vocabulary stick. And I actually learned that word last year from Immerse and haven't been able to forget it since. So I do think you might just find your vocabulary retention spike a bit from learning things inside of Immerse. But better vocabulary retention is not the only thing Immerse can give you, which takes us to part 2, a model for community practice. A big part of why immersion is so effective for language learning is the community aspect. Practicing conversations with other people, forming relationships that give you reasons to come back to the language, and jumping into activities with friends and almost forgetting that you're learning the language as a byproduct. Those are all some of the best parts of immersing into a language when you travel abroad. And Immerse does a decent job of giving you some of these without having to travel. One of their features is the common square they built where you can walk around, meet other language learners, and strike up conversations with anyone you want while you're out exploring the space. Tienes que cortar el limón. Con
Ok, sí.
con el cuchillo.
Gracias, gracias. Okay. ¡Ah, no! Okay.
Oh, bien, bien. Ahora lo puedes meter en la licuadora. You also have a fun set of language and vocabulary games set up around the commons, and you can put together a group for a pickup game of language Pictionary, name that object, language archery, and many more. Spanish vocab practice. Let's get ourselves a bow. Boom. Virtual reality headset. El casco de realidad virtual. Puede también ser keyboard. El teclado. Bam. And then there's this cool vocabulary scanner gun they give you that you can point to almost any object you find and it'll give you the word for that object to help you learn the word. And it's a fun one to use. But one of the best community features is the conversation events. These go on all throughout the day and there's smaller spaces that you can jump into to practice conversations with people. And they usually have teachers too that are there just to guide conversations and help spark dialogue.
En los estadios de fútbol hay miles de tacos de canasta. En los
The Immerse community is generally pretty open, nice, and mature from my experience so far, which makes the scheduled classes and community features that much better. But there's one core feature we're still missing, and it's AI integration. Immerse actually just introduced a new AI integration that lets you practice conversations anytime with AI. They have a bunch of AI avatars pre-built for different topics and scenarios, and they cover a lot of different situations that you probably want to practice. You can just browse to the list of topics to select something that sounds interesting to you, and then you get transported to a room where you can practice with different AI in the room.
Hola.
Hola, Jaime. ¿Te gusta la hamburguesa?
Sí, me encanta la hamburguesa, especialmente con un slushy.
Bueno, entonces, para mí que sea una hamburguesa con limonada.
Perfecto, una hamburguesa con limonada. ¿Te gustaría agregar alguna modificación a la hamburguesa?
The AI features are experimental, so I would advise to always validate what you learn from AI with a real language teacher, just to make sure. But this is a nice feature for practicing your target language when there's no class scheduled, or if there are not many people online to practice with. So how do you actually get Immerse, especially if you don't have a VR headset? And what are the flaws to avoid with this platform? Getting Immerse is pretty easy. On the web, go to immerse.com, jump in with a free trial, and get signed up and logged in. Then select the language you're learning and your level, and you're good to hop into the world of Immerse. To do it without a headset, tap here and click here to run through the tutorial where you'll learn how to access all the features.
Welcome to Immerse. Before you begin your language immersion adventure, you need to learn how to move around and interact with the world around you.
If you're on a VR headset, search for Immerse in the store, download and fire up the app, and then launch the tutorial here and jump in. There are 4 core features you'll want to try in Immerse. Starting from the homeroom, to access live classes, click here. Find a class that you think you'll enjoy, and then sign up for it or jump in live if there's space.
Intermedio, class for beginners, fundamentos, class for principiantes, intermedio. They have classes all the way until 10 p.m.
And the guided classes is really one of the best parts of Immerse. Then you'll want to try the language games by clicking here. And then you can find people to play a vocabulary guessing game, language Pictionary, and other challenges, or just hang out in the comment area. To access the vocabulary scanner, click here, and then you can scan almost any object around you to learn that word in your target language. When there are no people around and you want to keep practicing speaking, you can try the AI feature by going here, start a chat with an AI avatar, and then while you're speaking to the AI, you can click through the words to get definitions, or tap to translate full paragraphs.
Perfecto. Entonces, nos vemos esta noche en la discoteca.
Genial. Nos vemos esta noche en la discoteca. Será una noche divertida.
Overall, Immerse is a really cool app for language learners, but no app is perfect. So what are the flaws? There are 4 important limitations to keep in mind with Immerse. First up, there are very few languages supported today that you can learn. Only Spanish, French, and English. And while these are popular languages, they might not work for you if you're learning something like German. The Immerse team will likely continue to expand the languages they serve over time, since they only had Spanish but have already added French and English. But for now, many languages will not get to benefit from Immerse yet. Another flaw, you need a VR headset to get that full feeling of immersion. And not everyone has a VR headset. Luckily, the app does work on your desktop computer as well, but it doesn't work on mobile. So this isn't something you can do while on the go. You'll have to station yourself down somewhere to practice languages with Immerse. The third thing to remember is that Immerse is a paid platform. You're not going to be able to do much of anything without subscribing, so you'll have to pick up a monthly membership to use Immerse. It makes sense since the company needs money to make the platform better, and the subscription might actually motivate you to use the platform more and stick to your language goals. But this is an investment, and the community isn't super large, so you might drop in to play a language learning game and not find anyone around. Or you might see that your class is small or that no one else is joining you every once in a while. As an advanced student, I also didn't have a ton of luck finding other advanced students, and I sometimes wish there was a bunch of people running around Immerse excited to practice Spanish, but the app is still growing its community. So you might need to use Immerse at the busy hours of the day if you want to see a lot of people to practice with. Luckily, Immerse does have the AI conversation feature that you can use to practice speaking whenever you want, but the AI is not going to be as good as the latest ChatGPT update that brought some amazing conversation voices and an internet feature to let you talk about any topic or recent news in your target language. We broke down how to get and use all those insane updates for language learning in this video, so I'll see you there and hasta la próxima.